treats under them so that we can get them to learn to observe us and then mimic our behaviors. We teach them nouns and verbs, and in some classes and some groups I've had arguments over, or discussions is a better word, I'm sorry, discussions over, let's get semantically correct, because I'm about to discuss semantics, about the word used, but I think connotation has a big part of this. And so, am I teaching them a cue or a verb? I'm teaching them an action. I'm giving them a vocabulary word to work with. But again, I'm talking to them in sentences. Hello, how are you?
Like, what else you got?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's that penguin? Like, I'll take that penguin now.
We're visiting. But that's exactly it. I'm going to talk to the dog just like I would talk to somebody else, maybe in a little bit more childish, happy sort of voice. But, hey, he came out.
Yes. Did you enjoy that toy? I'm glad you did. I am. I'm very glad you did. Yeah, you can chew on it some more. I'm going to take it from you. Yeah.
All right, so we do that. We do watch, and there are in the book a number of examples of how to teach watch so that they learn to watch our behavior, which is what mimicking is all about, which is why Evie has been taught that when I do something, I step ahead, she steps ahead. So that's the key to loose walking. When I step behind, she takes a step back. When I step aside, she takes a step aside. When I step aside, she takes a step aside. We do those sort of games where she watches what I do and then she does it, which is exactly why when I put my cell phone on the desk, she watched me.
She watched you. Right?
And she's like, you talk on that. And when you talk on that, yeah, things happen. So she went up and she got it. So environmental control is a big part of the parental sort of control and control, again, I'm using words I shouldn't be using. And environmental management is a better word for it. A lot of my pet parents don't understand that you've got a toddler in the house, and so if you don't want them counter surfing, you keep stuff off the counters. And what I've learned is, I don't want Evie to get stuff. She knows my desk is a great place to get my cell phone or pencils or pens or anything else she can chew on, because she loves to chew, being a lab, so she can get them. So either I control that and I manage it, or she gets a hold of things and I really should not get mad at her. I've allowed that to happen because I haven't been a good parent.
Robin, with the environment, if you are working with a dog that hates a crate, do you work with this method to get them to like the crate, or do you say, okay, well, what else can we do? How can we leave the dog out in the house?
I would do an environmental test to see whether or not, if I mimicked going in the crate and enjoying it and having something that the dog wanted, the dog would come in and spend time with me. I did have a dog that didn't like a crate. And as soon as I crawled in the crate and I had fun with the dog in the crate and I was eating great stuff like peanut butter and sharing it with the dog and everything, all of a sudden that crate was great. Now, if I have a dog that is absolutely terrified of a crate,
Like Frank?
I would probably do more of an X-Pen or what we've got Nina set up on, where there's a gate, so there's an open environment, where there is a controlled environment in as much as the dog can't harm itself and can't get into things that it's not supposed to, but still learns that there are good things there and there are enough stimulating things, and he's got a sister that he can play with there, and there's beds there that he can lay on, and she does an amazing job with mental stimulation type games, and we wear them out and they play in the backyard and we do all these different things, that there's so much going on that when he is in there, it's no longer, oh my God, I'm in here and I'm trapped.
Okay.
It's sort of a relaxing scenario. So I think it's a very individual sort of thing, and I think that it really depends on the dog. And I've had another dog that was a separation anxiety case that was terrified And again, it goes back to the pet parent in as much as how much are they willing to work with you. This particular dog should have been put on medication in my estimation much earlier, but they did not want to do it. We worked with the dog, we continued working with the dog. The dog could not be kept in, was having accidents, was scratching at the door, was barking, they were about to be evicted from an apartment, all different sorts of, I mean, it was top level kinds of things. Got them doing bonding things, even though they weren't really on board with it, didn't call it that, got them on bonding things. We've got the dog starting to the point where it would, learn a little bit, but it was still so fearful. We worked a little bit on keeping it behind a gate and separating ourselves, a typical, as you know, as a trainer, typical sort of separation anxiety type things, where it wasn't a crate because it had hurt itself in a crate, so I wasn't going to put it back in a crate. It is still not in a crate to date. Happily, the dog is learning things. It's happy learning things. It's not having accidents in the house. I did stop using food in toys, as a lot of us have been instructed on doing. Keep it occupied with food toys while you're away. These people were coming home at lunch, they were coming home at dinner, and every several hours. There wasn't somebody with the dog every hour, which I would have liked. I would have liked to have a retired person in that house with the dog and slowly, gradually brought it up to being alone. At this point, the dog is fine, but it stopped eating its food. And we had to switch food 6 times because we were feeding it in the frozen Kongs and doing the toys with the particular food. It was so scared it was eating those foods. And then it was like, oh, that's the food that I get when I'm left alone. So we had to keep switching foods. So what I did with that is I just stopped with the food toys. I gave it other things to do, and we did training, we did bond-based stuff, we got it on some medication, which it really needed. And at this point, that dog is so much more relaxed. And I do believe eventually we will get that dog off. It was a rescue. It had some really bad prior history, different things, so I think we'll get it off. But to force the dog to be in a situation where it's not comfortable, I don't think I would do that. I think I would try to find some other means, whether it's a doggy daycare, whether it's a retired person or a church person or somebody that can come in and be with that dog, to volunteer with that dog, to help with that dog. I try to get creative on that. So it's a real good question, and it's an individual thing. You've got to evaluate that specific dog and kind of go on that.
And what the family can do, I guess.
Yeah, and what the
Resources
family could, resources wise, which is why I say there are different organizations that you may be able to find kids after school, you may be able to find, neighbors, you may be able to find different things. It's really a question of us asking, what's the need of the dog? Why is the dog behaving this way? And how can we fix it, and being creative to figure out a way to do that. So, and that's why I'm grateful to be parts of lots of the dog groups like all of you are part of, because we can bounce ideas off of each other and help. So, yeah. All right, so the mimicking and encouragement. We want to teach them how to do things like us. We'll go through some examples of that. I know we're running a little bit over, so yeah.
I'm sorry, I should have. We probably needed 2 hours for you.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. So I'm not going to go through the verbs and the nouns. You have that in the book. They are listed there. I do go through all of these types of things in a class. When I am teaching, if you want to skip to page 9, actually, we go through in the prior pages the educational steps. There are the nouns and verbs and teaching of them, and there are educational games that I think are really important. So when I'm doing a 6-week class on bond-based choice training, my typical class schedule, my 6-week course will involve weeks 1 and 2, love, cuddle, and bond. And because so many people are so adamant about, well, I need my dog to do this, I need my dog to be doing something, I need to be teaching my dog something, because that's what, unfortunately, the public expects out of us as trainers. They come in, I taught my dog how to sit. I'm good. Great. You're Canine Commander-in-Chief. Yay for you! Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Dog
great.
already knows how to sit.
The dog was born knowing how to sit. The dog came out of the womb knowing how to sit and how to lie down. It didn't know the English word. It just didn't. And so, great. But the biggest barrier to this is really explaining to clients why this works and how it works. And yes, it's a complete different shift in approach. It is. In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it's not. We all want the best for our dogs. We all want to be force-free. We all want them to be great members of our family and have fun with them and love them and all of that. So the difference, though, is who has control? Does the dog have control over his behavior or her behavior, or do we? Do we have to micromanage or not? I'd rather macromanage. When I was a manager at Microsoft, I was like, do your job and I'm good. Don't do your job, and yeah, then you got to deal with the punk rocker. But it's one of those things. So I think in the first week or 2, typically when these courses are taught, we don't allow cueing at all. There is no come, sit, stay, take it, drop it, leave it. There is none of that. The dog is allowed to do what it wants. You do kissy noises to get its attention. I do allow touch because it's such an instructive thing, and it can be made a game, that it's kind of fun, that it gets you interacting with the dog, and it gets you playing with the dog and spending time with the dog, and the dog is learning something that's very, very helpful for later on activities. I teach a better hurry, which is my phrase for no potty. When my dogs go out, I love it. My dogs are trained like service dogs, where we go outside, better hurry, they squat and pee, they squat and pee. They know that that's what they're out there to do. Will we have fun? Absolutely. Do they get treats before and after? Absolutely. We do all those kinds of things, but the better hurry part is we need to get to work, so we need to potty kind of thing. And so we put that on cue for service dogs. So I do allow that in the very beginning, so that they're house trained, potty trained, especially with puppies, that kind of thing. And I do start working on the yes and no. It's never too early to ask them and to get them to know. Or do you want this toy or that toy? Do you want to play with this toy or that toy? Do you want chicken or beef for dinner? What do you want to do? Those kinds of things. Weeks 3 through 6, I usually focus on doing a couple of verbs, a couple of nouns. My dogs know the rooms of the house. I use tape and touch to teach them how to know everybody's name. Oh, go see Marta. What's Marta's name? She goes over to Marta. Cool, that's fun. Yay, you socialize. Yay, all good. Behavioral issues. Let's go through some of that quickly. Again, I use the same sort of methodology where the first question is ask why. Why is the dog behaving the way the dog is behaving? Why is the dog jumping? The dog wants attention generally. And so with positive reinforcement, I understand the turn around, don't do, ignore it, it will stop kind of thing. But the dog is asking, or not asking as we can, that, I need some attention. I need some love. I'm excited to see you. You're here. Yay. And for me to say, I'm sorry, I don't like your behavior, is not only telling that dog I don't love him unconditionally, it's putting them off, and it's not what the dog really needs. The dog is like, this is my way of saying, I'm excited you're here. Yay, yay, this is going to be fun. And so when I go into a client's house, the dog starts jumping on me because I'm the treat lady. because I give treats freely and I have good treats and all that kind of stuff.
And you have fallen asleep on me when you're supposed to be a working
Well,
dog here. But that's okay. We love you. We love you anyway. Yes, we do.
If you were jumping on me, I don't push him down. I pet him down. I'm giving him love. I talk to him. I pet him. I get down and I say, "Hey, you're wonderful. You're a great dog. You know, this is great."
And you do it until they
go
walk
down.
away, till they've had enough.
Till they're all four on the floor, and then if I try to step away and talk to the client, they come back. We're back down. We're back down. And usually after several times, they will get back down. Nina has a dog that I just absolutely adore, Charlie. And I literally have put her on cue because she is a dog that can be in standing position and just pops up and looks you in the eye. And so
Her nickname is Pogo.
I call her Pogo. I named her Pogo. And I put Pogo on cue just because she loves to jump. So I walk in the fence and she comes running towards me, and I know exactly, like, I'm just going to be jumped on. I'm like, Pogo! Hey, how are you? And she jumps up and she's down. I'm like, Pogo! And she jumps up and she's down. Pogo! She jumps up and she's down. And it's become a game. So again, I ask, what is it that she wants? She wants my affection. She wants my attention. She wants my love. She's excited that I'm there. So if I turn my back on her, I'm like, I probably shouldn't say this on video, but fuck you. You know? Like, whatever. I don't want anything to do with you. That's not what this dog needs. That's not what this dog wants. This dog wants love and attention. She's excited. And I'm not going to be able to work with her and train her and help her with some of the issues that she's having if she doesn't trust me and she thinks I'm going to turn my back on her. So I give her what she needs. What does she need? She needs to jump. She's excited. She needs to play. So I put a name to it. What's wrong with that?
My
So
roommates even adopted it.
yeah.
Pogo.
Good luck, Kathy. I don't think he needs to jump right now.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's good.
I think